What if I told you that the first signs of dementia may already be happening right now, and most people completely miss them? The frightening truth is that dementia doesn't begin when someone forgets a name or misses an appointment. In many cases, the disease starts silently 20 to 30 years before a diagnosis is ever made. By the time memory loss becomes obvious, significant damage may already have occurred. And that's exactly why today's video could be one of the most important videos you ever watch. 5 years ago, I lost my mother to dementia. Looking back, the warning signs were there. Not one dramatic symptom. Not one shocking event. Instead, there were dozens of small moments that seemed harmless at the time. Moments my family and I brushed aside as normal aging. Moments I wish I had understood sooner. Today, I'm going to share 10 early warning signs of dementia that many families overlook. Some of them may surprise you. One of them completely changed my understanding of brain health. And if you stay until the end, I'll share the lifestyle habits that research continues to associate with better brain function and healthier aging. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Every week, we share evidence-based health information designed specifically for adults over 50 who want to stay active, independent, and mentally sharp. And if you're watching with a parent, spouse, or loved one, share this video with them because it could help someone recognize an important warning sign before it's too late. Let's begin. The first warning sign is frequently losing things, getting lost, or becoming disoriented. Now, everyone misplaces their keys from time to time. Everyone forgets where they parked. That's normal. But dementia changes the pattern. Instead of occasionally losing something, a person repeatedly loses the same items. Instead of correcting the problem, they continue making the same mistakes. Instead of briefly feeling confused, they become genuinely disoriented. I still remember when my mother got lost driving to my house. It was a route she had driven countless times. When she arrived late, she blamed road construction. It sounded perfectly reasonable, so I didn't think much about it. Looking back, I realized that moment was one of the earliest clues that something deeper was happening. The brain region responsible for navigation and memory is called the hippocampus. Think of it as your internal GPS. It helps you remember where you are, where you've been, and how to get where you want to go. When dementia begins affecting this area, people may struggle to navigate familiar places. They may lose their car in a parking lot. They may forget where they placed common household items. Some even become confused while driving routes they've traveled for decades. Here's the important part. A healthy brain can usually recognize mistakes and adapt. Someone with a healthy brain who keeps losing their keys may create a routine and place them in the same location every day. A brain affected by dementia often struggles to make those adjustments. If you've ever misplaced something, don't panic. The concern is not the occasional mistake. The concern is a pattern that gradually worsens over time. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? If yes, leave a comment below saying yes. I read every comment, and your experience may help others realize they're not alone. Now let's move to warning sign number 2. Choosing isolation over connection. This one is incredibly important because many people dismiss it as personality. Humans are social creatures. Our brains are designed for interaction. Every conversation activates memory, attention, emotional regulation, language processing, and decision-making. Social interaction is one of the most powerful forms of brain exercise. Yet many people in the early stages of dementia begin withdrawing from others. They stop attending social events. They avoid family gatherings. They spend increasing amounts of time alone. They decline invitations they once enjoyed. Unfortunately, social isolation creates a dangerous cycle. The less we engage with others, the less cognitive stimulation our brains receive. Over time, this can contribute to further decline. After my father passed away, my mother gradually withdrew from the world. At first, it seemed understandable. She was grieving. But over time, isolation became her default. Looking back, I now understand that what appeared to be a lifestyle choice may also have been connected to changes happening inside her brain. If you're spending most of your days alone, consider this a gentle reminder. Call a friend. Join a club. Attend community events. Volunteer. Go to church. Meet people. Meaningful human connection remains one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging. And no, social media does not fully replace face-to-face interaction. Your brain needs real conversations, real laughter, real connection. The third warning sign is difficulty finding the right words. Have you ever known exactly what you wanted to say but couldn't find the word? Most of us experience that occasionally. But for someone developing dementia, this happens more frequently. They know what they want to communicate. The problem is retrieving the language. Conversations become slower. They pause mid-sentence. They substitute simple words for specific ones. They lose their train of thought. Family members often miss this sign because the person's intelligence still seems intact. They can still hold conversations. They still recognize people. They still appear sharp. That's exactly what makes this symptom so deceptive. My mother often blamed these moments on fatigue. She would laugh and say she was tired. But as time went on, those moments became more frequent. Language depends on complex networks throughout the brain. When those networks begin weakening, communication becomes harder. The change is usually subtle at first. That's why paying attention to patterns is so important. Warning sign number 4 is difficulty performing routine tasks. This is where daily life starts becoming overwhelming. Activities that once felt automatic suddenly require tremendous effort. Planning trips, managing finances, following recipes, organizing schedules, handling paperwork. Many people compensate by avoiding these responsibilities altogether. To family members, it may appear as laziness or forgetfulness. But the reality is often much different. The brain's executive function systems are struggling. Executive function is responsible for planning, organizing, prioritizing, and solving problems. When these systems begin declining, even simple decisions can feel exhausting. I remember helping my mother with tasks she once handled effortlessly. Things that used to take her minutes suddenly became stressful and overwhelming. She wasn't being careless. Her brain was working harder than ever just to accomplish routine activities. The fifth warning sign may surprise you because it often appears before significant memory loss. Subtle changes in mood and emotional regulation. Have you noticed someone becoming unusually irritable? Easily frustrated? More anxious than before? Emotionally reactive over minor inconveniences? These changes are often blamed on aging, retirement, stress, or personality. But sometimes they reflect changes occurring within the brain itself. My mother became increasingly anxious about situations that never bothered her before. A simple repair in her home could create overwhelming stress. Small inconveniences triggered emotional reactions that seemed disproportionate to the situation. At the time, I assumed she was worried about the cost. Today, I realize something more complicated was happening. The brain regions responsible for emotional regulation are vulnerable to inflammation, vascular disease, and neurodegeneration. As these systems become impaired, emotional responses can change. Some people become more anxious. Others become more apathetic. Some become more irritable. These changes are often dismissed because they don't look like memory problems. But sometimes they're among the earliest warning signs of all. And here's something important to remember. Having one or even several of these symptoms does not automatically mean someone has dementia. Many medical conditions can affect memory, thinking, and mood. Sleep disorders, depression, anxiety, vitamin deficiencies, medication side effects, thyroid disorders, hearing loss, vision problems. That's why professional evaluation is so important. Never self-diagnose. Instead, use these signs as motivation to pay attention and seek guidance when necessary. And don't go anywhere because in the next part we're covering warning signs 6 through 10, including one symptom that many families completely miss until it's already causing serious problems. Trust me, you'll want to hear that one. Now let's continue with warning sign number 6, and this is one that many families completely overlook until it starts creating real safety concerns. Impaired spatial awareness and difficulty judging distances. Spatial processing is your brain's ability to understand where objects are in relation to one another and where you are within your environment. It sounds simple, but it affects nearly everything you do throughout the day. Driving, walking, reaching for objects, following directions, navigating crowded places, and even pouring a glass of water all depend on spatial processing. When this ability begins to decline, people may misjudge distances. They may bump into objects. They may struggle with directions involving multiple steps. They may have difficulty navigating parking lots, shopping centers, or unfamiliar environments. One of the most concerning consequences is driving. Someone may still appear perfectly normal during conversation yet struggle to judge the distance between vehicles. They may miss turns, drift between lanes, or become confused in traffic situations that once felt routine. I remember noticing moments when my mother seemed unusually hesitant while navigating familiar places. At first, I thought she was simply becoming more cautious with age. Looking back, I realized those moments were early signs that her brain was struggling to process spatial information efficiently. This is why changes in navigation and driving ability should never be ignored. Sometimes they appear years before more obvious memory problems develop. Warning sign number 7 is declining sleep quality. This may be one of the most underestimated risk factors for cognitive decline. Many people assume poor sleep is simply part of getting older. It isn't. Healthy sleep is one of the most powerful tools your brain has for repair and maintenance. During deep sleep, your brain clears waste products, consolidates memories, strengthens neural connections, and performs essential housekeeping functions. Think of sleep as your brain's nightly cleaning crew. Without enough quality sleep, those maintenance processes become less effective. People who later develop dementia often experience years of fragmented sleep before diagnosis. They wake up frequently throughout the night. They struggle to stay asleep. They wake up exhausted even after spending 8 hours in bed. They become increasingly sleepy during the day. For years, I thought my mother's daytime fatigue was simply normal aging. Sometimes she would fall asleep in the middle of conversations. At first I joked that my stories must have been boring. Eventually I realized it wasn't about me at all. Her brain simply wasn't getting the restorative sleep it needed. If you're consistently waking up tired, snoring heavily, experiencing sleep apnea, or struggling with insomnia, please take it seriously. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity for brain health. Warning sign number 8 is increased sensitivity to noise, light, and sensory stimulation. This sign often surprises families because it doesn't look like a memory problem. Imagine walking into a restaurant and feeling overwhelmed by conversations happening around you. Imagine bright lights feeling uncomfortable. Imagine ordinary background noise suddenly becoming exhausting. For some individuals developing dementia, the brain gradually loses its ability to filter irrelevant information. A healthy brain automatically decides which sensory inputs deserve attention and which can be ignored. But when those filtering systems weaken, the world can begin to feel louder, brighter, and more chaotic. My mother often complained that music in the car was too loud even when everyone else thought it was perfectly normal. Busy environments became stressful. Crowded places felt overwhelming. Over time, she started avoiding those situations altogether. Unfortunately, avoiding stimulation can lead to even greater isolation, which further reduces cognitive engagement. If you notice a loved one becoming increasingly sensitive to noise or light, don't dismiss it as simple irritability. It may be telling you something important about what's happening inside the brain. Warning sign number 9 is repetitive negative thinking and excessive rumination. This one broke my heart because I witnessed it firsthand. Rumination is when the brain becomes trapped in repetitive thought loops. The same worries, the same complaints, the same fears, the same suspicions, again and again, day after day. No resolution, no progress, just repetition. Many people associate this pattern with anxiety or depression, and those conditions can certainly play a role. But it can also be an early sign of cognitive decline. My mother became fixated on certain beliefs about family members. No amount of reassurance could change her mind. No amount of evidence seemed to matter. The harder I tried to reason with her, the more frustrated both of us became. Eventually I learned a valuable lesson. Logic often doesn't work when the brain's processing systems are changing. Instead of arguing, I learned to redirect. We would change the subject. Go for a walk. Look through old photos. Talk about pleasant memories. And surprisingly, those approaches worked much better than trying to win an argument. If you notice a loved one becoming trapped in repetitive negative thoughts, approach them with patience and compassion. Often what they need most is emotional support, not correction. And now we come to warning sign number 10. Difficulty organizing daily life. This final sign often develops so gradually that families barely notice it at first. The refrigerator becomes cluttered with expired food. Laundry piles up. Bills go unpaid. Appointments are missed. The house becomes increasingly disorganized. What makes this sign particularly deceptive is that some people have always been a little messy. The difference is that the disorganization becomes dramatically worse. Tasks that once felt manageable become overwhelming. Daily routines begin falling apart. I remember noticing changes in my mother's home. At first they seemed small. Then gradually they became impossible to ignore. Household responsibilities she once handled effortlessly started accumulating. It wasn't laziness. It wasn't carelessness. It was cognitive decline affecting her ability to organize and manage complex tasks. One of the most important lessons I learned as a caregiver is this: don't automatically do everything for someone experiencing cognitive decline. Whenever possible, encourage safe participation in daily activities. Folding clothes, watering plants, washing dishes, organizing simple items. These activities provide valuable mental stimulation. They help maintain routines. They give the brain opportunities to practice important skills. Of course, some activities may require supervision, especially cooking, driving, or handling potentially dangerous equipment. Safety must always come first. But maintaining appropriate independence can help preserve quality of life for as long as possible. Now, before we finish, I want to share something incredibly important. If you've recognized one or more of these signs in yourself or someone you love, do not panic. Dementia is not diagnosed from a YouTube video. Many conditions can cause symptoms that look similar. Depression, anxiety, poor sleep, medication side effects, hearing loss, vitamin deficiencies, thyroid disorders. Even chronic stress can affect memory and concentration. The goal of this video is not to create fear. The goal is awareness. Because awareness creates opportunity. Opportunity to seek medical evaluation. Opportunity to make lifestyle changes. Opportunity to protect brain health before more serious problems develop. And that brings me to perhaps the most hopeful message of all. While no lifestyle can guarantee prevention, research consistently shows that certain habits support healthier brain aging. Move your body every day. Even a brisk walk can make a difference. Protect your sleep. Deep restorative sleep is essential for memory and brain repair. Stay socially connected. Your brain thrives on meaningful relationships. Eat a nutrient-dense diet rich in vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, seeds, and healthy fats. Continue learning. Read books. Learn new skills. Challenge your mind. Manage stress. Spend time in nature. Practice gratitude. Stay engaged with life. Looking back, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't wish I had recognized some of these signs sooner in my mother. But sharing her story gives meaning to that experience. If her journey helps another family recognize a problem earlier, then something good can come from that pain. So let me ask you one final question. Which of these 10 warning signs surprised you the most? Was it social isolation? Sleep problems? Difficulty finding words? Changes in mood? Let me know in the comments below. I read as many comments as possible, and your experience may help someone else who is facing a similar situation. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join our growing community dedicated to healthy aging, disease prevention, and living your strongest life after 50. Remember, your brain health is not determined by a single day. It's shaped by the choices you make consistently over time. Take care of your brain. Take care of your loved ones. And never underestimate the power of recognizing a warning sign early. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.